Okay, so let's head into topic 4.3 now. So 4.3 is basically just loops with strings. So if you're having trouble with that earlier, this is going to be the part of the video for you. So let's write a string. We're going to call it n for name. We're going to call it Jason. And then let's print out Jason backwards. So we're going to do a for loop. And we're going to set integer I to the length of Jason -1. Why are we doing -1? We're doing -1 because remember that yes, the length is 5, but the first element of Jason is at place 0. Then the last character is at place 4. So we want to do it at -1 for that reason, because our last element, our last character is at place 4, and the length is 5. So that's why. And then we're going to do while I is greater than -1. You can do equals 0, less than or equal to 0, as long as it gets to 0. So I'm just going to do I is less than -1, and we're going to decrement it so by 1. And then all we're going to do is that we're just going to print out a new line on this letter. So a letter is going to be using the substring method, and then we're going to print out I plus 1. The reason for doing that is because we need to print out one character, and to print out just one character, you put the place and then the place plus 1. You can't do plus plus, because if you did I plus plus, that would be like reassigning the value of I. You have to do I plus 1. So if we're looking for place 2, which is S, it's going to go to n.substring and put in 2, 3. So then it's going to print out S, and 3 is our endpoint, and it's not going to print out our end. It only prints out our start point, not our endpoint. Oh my gosh. Now we are getting an error. Why are we exactly getting error? Well, the reason we are getting an error is because we have no integer name here. We need to give integer I a name. Oh my gosh. Debugging is part of programming, I tell you. And now it should work. So we're going to get a very cool output on 5 different lines. N-O-S-A-J. If we change Jason to, we did Meredith before. Let's do another long name. I can't think of one. Oh well, Jason's fine. Okay. That's fine. So that's how you print out a string backwards in Java. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a substring, and we're going to see if this substring is located in our name. So let's give this a substring a variable, and we'll just do son as our substring. And then we're going to do is if we locate the substring in our bigger string, we're going to set this equal to true. So we're going to set it equal to false initially, because it is false right now. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set a for loop to go through each individual set of 3 characters in our big string. Our big string is Jason. I know it's not that big, but that's the biggest one we got. And we're going to go through each individual set of 3 letters, so JAS, ASO, and SON, and see if it contains our S string, our substring. So what we're going to do is we're going to set integer I to 0, and we're going to set I less than n.length, but we need at least 3 letters reserved. So we're going to do n.length minus s.length, because that is 3. So it will go as far as the length is 5. It's going to go as far as 5 minus 2 to the second letter. It's going to go to S, so then that reserves us 3 letters, SON, to locate our substring. Because if it goes to the third character, which is O, it's only going to reserve 2 letters, and our substring's longer. So that's why we have to do minus S.length. And then, of course, we're going up, so we're going to do I++. And then now what we're going to do is do an if statement. If we got to see if our word contains our substring, then L is going to equal to true. If it's located is going to be equal to true. So if n.substring, and we're going to do I, location I, because we're going to go up every time, and then I plus, so let's say we're looking at element 0, 1, 2, we're going to do 0 plus 3. So remember, our n character is not going to be printed out. We just saw this with our first loop. We're going to do I plus s dot length. Now what we're going to do is going to do if n.substring I plus length, I plus s length equals s, our substring. So if it equals our substring, we don't need a colon there, then n is going to allow L to be equal. Actually, we don't even need to print this out. We could just do, oh my gosh, L is equal to true. And then after our for loop is over, after this is all run, then we print out L. Very, very cool. So let's run our code, and it's going to locate our substring, and so it's going to go to 0. Is JAS equal to our substring? No. It's going to go to element 1. Is ASO equal to our substring? No. Element 2. Just kidding. It is equal to true. My IDE crashed, so that's why it ran out false. I had to restart it. So yeah, and if we had a substring, let's say Sunnies, is it going to print out true? I sure hope not, because, well, Sunnies is longer than Jason. So yeah, it's not going to find it, so it's not going to print it out. All right, so we just located a substring in a larger string. I mean, Sunnies was larger, but it didn't find it, so that is why. All right, let's get rid of all this, and let's write a new string in, one with a lot of A's. What's the name with a lot of A's? Alexandra. There we go. So let's start with that, and we're going to do string LL, and we're going to do, it's going to be a lowercase letter, that's why I'm doing LL, and we're going to do A, and then we're going to do string L letter capital, and that's going to be equal to capital A. What are we doing exactly? Well, we're just going to see how many A's are in Alexandra. So let's do this. So let's do for integer I equals 0, we're going to do I minus the name dot length, and we're going to increment I by 1, because we're going to go through each letter individually. So let's do a string, actually. Let's make a string in our for loop. We can do this. String sub, that's going to be our substring for this this run of the for loop, and it's going to be the substring of I plus 1, so it's only one character. And then if sub, our substring, equals, L, well, what if it's a capital letter? Then we're going to put the OR operator, if sub dot equals LC, then it's going to actually, let's make an integer. My mic just fell. Let's make an integer count, so it counts how many times we have A. And then in our if statement, we're going to add 1 to count every time it's there. And then after our for loop is over, we'll just print count. See how many times A shows up in Alexandra. So when we run our code, we should get 3, because there are 3 A's in Alexandra. What if we did Billy or Billy? Bicky. Let's do Bicky instead, because I don't want to hit L today. Is there any A's in Bicky? No. So what is it going to print out? It's going to print out 0. Let's go through our for loop one more time in case you're confused. Integer I equals 0. We want to go through each letter individually, so we're going to go less than name.length, and then we're going to increase by 1 to go through them all individually. We want one letter at a time, so we made a string substring that is equal to 1 letter. To do 1 letter, you're going to do I and then as your first letter, and then for our second parameter, you're going to do I plus 1, because a substring does not include your endpoint like it includes your start point. And then if our substring equals lowercase letter or capital letter, then it's going to add 1 to the count to count how many A's there are. So that's me explaining the code there. And that is 4.3. This one's been one heck of a lesson. 4.3. Hopefully 4.4 is easier. Oh my gosh, let's get rid of all this. And that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. It's free, and it really does help me out. I have more AP computer science videos if you want to go check those out. They're really, really helpful and all of that. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.